Hello everyone, in this video I'll be looking in some depth and detail at the Vedic astrology charts of Nigel Farage, leader of the UK Brexit Party. First of all, I want to make it very clear that this is in no way politically motivated. I'm in every way being objective and just reading the astrology. This is Vedic astrology, so if you are used to Western astrology, this will be slightly different, but stay with it because you may find it illuminating. So, Nigel Farage was born on April the 3rd, 1964 at 4:30 p.m. in Abbots Bickington in England. It's a good enough birth time. 5 minutes here or there won't make that much difference to this reading at all. Let's get cracking on. Right, Nigel Farage is so powerful chart. Where to start? There are so many powerful conjunctions. There is a split of the chart where all the planets are on one side. This is called a sarpa yoga. It splits the chart into like a knife, and it's actually called a snake yoga. Many people have this, particularly powerful, famous people, because it concentrates energy, but it also has a karmic path. And he is now in the head of the snake. He's now in Rahu Mahadasha. This needs careful consideration. I will also be absolutely focusing on his moon in Sagittarius. This is a sign of foreign powers, foreign cultures, and it's with Ketu, his past lives. There is some deep mystery here that we need to unravel. Also, his ruling planet, the Sun, has gone into the dangerous and confrontational 8th house. So let's get started. So, Nigel Farage has Leo rising. That's hardly surprising for a person of great assurance and stage presence. Leo is a showman after all. Donald Trump has Leo rising. Many people who are very confident and assured have this. 1 in 12 people, actually. But where has the ruling planet gone for this confident, assured man? It's gone in the secretive 8th house. Now, the sun in this house, in the Vedic system, is a weakened sun because it's setting. He was born in the evening. So this weakens his health. And also the 8th house is the actual house of accidents and sudden traumas. He has had accidents, serious accidents, health and life threatening traumas. So he's had all of that, and that would absolutely resonate with his sun. It damages his sun, but fortunately Mars is with his sun. Therefore, Mars gives him the inner strength and drive that keeps him going past these very difficult traumas. But his health is sensitive, and the moon in Sag has Saturn here now. So it's a very sensitive time for his health, and he may be going into overdrive. He's in Sati. I'll be talking about that one on my next slide. That's a fated 7.5 year Saturn period. So his health is a bit weak now, particularly now, September, October. He has to be very, very careful with that. But I would say that he's a very intuitive person, far more than you would ever guess. In fact, he sees beneath the surface of things. Anybody with the sun in the 8th house is a bit of a detective, a bit of a spy, and they see beneath surface of things. It's very hard to pull the wool over Nigel Farage's eyes, I would suggest. So a very driven person, and even slightly, well, not, slightly, I would say very much so, philosophical, even religious. I've never heard about that, but he obviously has some deep sense of belief there, because a sun in Pisces is hugely philosophical, and the moon in Sag is equally so. Let's now consider the mysterious Rahu Ketu Sarpa yoga. So, the mysterious sarpa yoga, let's analyze it in a little bit of detail. It concentrates his energy. It makes him concentrated on whatever he wants to be on. Obviously, Brexit, a lot of his life. But it gives his life a bit of an unbalance. But as I say, many famous people have this, and that's why he's so successful. but it is also a fated, hugely fated yoga, and he is now in the Mahadasha of Rahu. This is why the Vedic system is so superb. It gives us this knowledge of time periods in his life. He's been in this for a few years and it's got many more years to run. Funnily enough, this Kal Sarp, exactly as in Nigel Farage's birth chart, is in the skies at the moment, affecting everyone. So in our country, I believe it's this tight Kal Sarp division which has come to a head now and divided our country into two. It's not his fault. He's not responsible for that, really, although you may think so. After all, David Cameron was the one who brought the referendum. I'm going to do a whole video on that soon, by the way. Anyway, back to Nigel Farage's chart. Rahu is the kingmaker. What more can we say? He's in the dasha of the kingmaker. These sort of predictions can only come from the Vedic system, which understands this. So this means that during this period, he will be a kingmaker in politics. The 11th house is a house of politics. It's the strongest house for Rahu to be in, and Gemini is such a successful sign for Rahu. In addition, if that isn't enough, because obviously in this next election, whenever it happens, he will be probably a sort of kingmaker with his new Brexit Party. But as I say, there's another amazing layer. Right now, Rahu is not only in a Kal Sarp, it's in Gemini, his natal sign. So this is it, and it stays there until the end of 2020. So between now and the end of next year, his king-making destiny will come into play. This is when the make or break time is for Nigel Farage. Let's just a little bit have a bit of a discussion about this moon Ketu. It's fascinating. The moon in Sagittarius is an open, optimistic, forward-looking person who is anything but xenophobic. I can't think of any sign less xenophobic than Sagittarius. Loves foreign travel, loves foreign cultures, loves foreign people. And it's from his past lives when with the moon Ketu in Sag, he may have been a bit of a traveller. He's a mega traveller now for sure. And the ruler of the moon Ketu, Jupiter, has gone into the 9th house of foreign lands, the most powerful and successful house for Jupiter. Therefore, he has had huge success abroad, even being lauded. He gets fame and huge mega success abroad. I think he has in America and maybe different places too. He's a little bit out of touch with his emotions though. Anybody who's born with the moon Ketu has this one issue very strongly. They find it hard to get in touch with their emotions personally, particularly in personal relationships. He's a bit detached from them. But that's not a problem for any politician, because he is, however, in tune with the populace. Pisces, Sun, Mars in the Vedic system is the sign of the general populace, as is Sagittarius, the sign of the foreign populace. So he understands people from all walks of life, in all countries. He has a huge empathy and intuition with people. The issue with the moon Ketu emotions will be in his personal relationships, but I don't want to go into those, okay? Because he does have Saturn in the 7th house, showing some difficulties there, but nonetheless a fated relationship at some point in his life. Now, the moon Ketu also shows that he has a very strong attachment to his homeland. But is he xenophobic? As I've just said, I don't see any signs of xenophobia in a Sagittarius Pisces person with a completely empty 4th house. His energies are in foreign lands. He loves travel. He loves foreign lands. He's not that sort of person, as I can see here. Now we need to consider the Sati period he is now in, the fated 7.5 year period, and how that will affect him. So, focusing in on the Sati period, 7.5 years of difficulty and strain, people say, fated time. But many politicians come to fame in this time. For example, Donald Trump is in his Sati period. The new president of India has come to power twice in his Sati. I think Indira Gandhi came to power in her Sati. I'm sure there's a million other examples. It gives concentrated power. So he's now in a Sati at the tail of the snake. It couldn't be more fated. Right now, Saturn is in Sagittarius with his moon. His health is really delicate. He's got to be careful not to overdo it. He's got to be careful around his family members also. By the way, if I didn't say before, he has a very fated relationship with his mother. Very close and intense. Actually comes from his past life. So, a sensitive time. But when Saturn moves into the sixth house, or the third from his moon, the second from his moon, the end of his Sati transit, it will be in Capricorn, strongly placed, and a much better period for him. That's when he can get great success, absolutely, in his politics. Whether this affects the actual Brexit situation, well, I'm going to do a whole video on that separately. But for him, Nigel Farage, after Jan 26 next year, it zooms up from this rather draining period where everything is out of control to a much more successful period starting next year at the end of January. Let's just finally have a quick look at this Saturn in his 7th house and Venus in his 10th house and see if this is a man who is after power itself, raw power, or not. What is he really after? It's interesting. So, very importantly, Saturn is strong in Aquarius in the 7th house of public duty. It gives a great sense of public duty that he has to fulfill. He feels it very, very deeply. Actually, David Cameron has a Saturn 7th house. It attracts a lot of criticism, however. You can get almost hatred coming your way with this strong Saturn, but it gives a sense of public duty. That's why probably David Cameron put that vote out there, because he'd actually promised it and he had this big sense of having to fulfill that promise. So he's a person who wants to fulfill his promises too. If he makes a promise, Nigel Farage is all out to fulfill that. But he has a conflict here because there is a square from Venus in the 10th house to this Saturn. Venus in the 10th house wants to have a lot of fun in one's career. Anybody with a Venus here is definitely not after power for its own sake. I mean, some people have a Venus here with some other planets, e.g., check out my chart of Boris Johnson on my channel. He's got some amazing 10th house planets. He is after some power. He enjoys it in itself, but not Nigel Farage. Venus wants enjoyment, has a very strong business sense, attracts money in a very strong sign here, attracts, wealth and gives huge success in that sense, but not power broker. It's not a power broker. In fact, that picture of Nigel Farage with a pint in his hand down the pub, that's pure Venus in Taurus, enjoying himself, mixing with lots of different people that he's very, very good at doing, that he enjoys doing. That's a man enjoying a food, wine, whatever it is. Not the women so much, he may do, but the Saturn restricts that because he has fated relationships, but I'm going to leave that to one side. He wants to enjoy himself in his career. Therefore, as soon as it isn't fun anymore, a person with Venus in Taurus will be out of the door. So that's the conflict Nigel Farage has. A very strong sense of public duty, a very strong sense that he has to commit and he has to fulfill things for the public good as he sees it, as opposed to his own desire for enjoyment in his career. Finally, but most importantly, let's make some predictions based on opening up this 10th house and seeing what's going on inside in the Vedic system with the D10 chart. So, yes, wow, I can only say the D10 chart is powerful as his D1. There's the Rahu Ketu, not a Kal Sarp anymore here, but the moon rising in Capricorn. Saturn will soon enter into Capricorn after Jan, as I've just been saying, next year. Therefore, that confirms my earlier prediction that year, next year, is his key year for his career. But look, the difficulty now is he's in Rahu Dasha, and there it is. Rahu's in the 10th house in the D10. Talk about a kingmaker, talk about power. It's all there for the taking. But the ruler of it, Venus, is with Uranus in the 3rd house of unexpected events. Uranus with the public. So anything is up for grabs in this time period. But this is his Rahu Dasha, which goes on for quite a few more years, and we're not going to look that far ahead. So media problems, maybe, I don't know whether he's got siblings, but there could be some sibling issues if he does. But either way, media issues are pretty huge here for him. But Venus is exalted in Pisces. This Dasha is mega successful for Nigel Farage, okay? But here's the thing, right now in September 2019, he's in the worst bit of it. He's in Rahu Shani, which is Maraka house. I found it amazing doing these charts. Boris Johnson's in a Maraka Mahadasha, a danger period. Jeremy Corbyn's in a Maraka period, so far as we can tell, because he won't tell us when he was born. And Nigel Farage is in a Maraka. They're all in a dangerous, dangerous time. How interesting. He's in Rahu Saturn. Jeremy Corbyn's in Saturn Rahu. It just goes on and on. It's like they're all fated to come together and fight this out. They must have had some past life together, and here they are again. Anyway, I'll leave that mystery to one side. Here's the most important thing though. Rahu Saturn is challenging. It's really challenging. Saturn and Rahu, explosive situations. But with Ketu now, here is the thing that I want to unpick. Saturn Ketu is a particular yoga, and Jeremy Corbyn has it. Check my chart about him on my channel. And he has it in his D10 chart as well as Nigel Farage. But it's in the opposite sign. It's in Libra. As I said, there's some definite fated connection, between these men. And if one could have that psychic insight, one could see what they were doing in their past lives, because they're not new to each other, that's for sure. Anyway, Saturn Ketu in Aries is a disappointment for Nigel Farage. It has to be said. Aries is the fighting sign, and Saturn doesn't like to be in Aries. Ketu is very strong in Aries, very fine in Aries, but not Saturn. And Saturn Ketu is a Shraspik yoga. It's challenging, which means that at some point in this time, things hugely let him down. So when is this time? It's been going on for a few weeks now, months now actually, and it goes on until the end of February next year. So from this time, September, until the end of Feb, there's a big disappointment for Nigel Farage in some way. Something is going to let him down. Something isn't going to work out the way he wants. This is the 4th house of home life, okay? The 4th house of his home and his country too. Things are not going the way he would like to. Now, I said he wasn't a xenophobe, and he isn't by his actual personality, but in his public life, how people see him, that's why he gets that reputation. Saturn Ketu in Aries makes him, look as though he's fixated on the Little England picture. But this is not his D1. It's not who he is. It's who he seems to be in his public life. But in his public life now, it's Maraca. It's challenging. Things are not going the way he wants them to. So this must affect the actual situation for Brexit. It must do, because he is Mr. Brexit. So in some way things are not working out the way he would like to. There's a huge challenge here. But ultimately, this is a favourable Mahadasha. Ultimately, Venus exalted in Pisces is hugely successful. Sudden events will happen, unexpected events, but will be successful for Nigel Farage. So to sum it all up, I would say it's a stressful time now until the end of Feb. Next year is hugely successful for him when a lot of the stresses and strains completely dissipate. Yeah, so I'd say for Nigel Farage, hold on tight. It's a stressful time now, but after the end of Feb, things get a little smoother. Okay, well, that was my reading for Mr. Nigel Farage. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, sub to my channel, and there will be more videos coming up soon. Goodbye for now.